What's up, guys? This is Edward back with another video. This is gonna be the second one I'm due this Sunday. Got two for you, and I just listened to O'Shea's interview with Free Thinker. I gotta tell you, it really gets on my goddamn nerves. These dudes that, okay, let me say it this way. If I were to ask you, why can't 1 + 1 be 7? If you thought once you assumed I was serious, once you realized I was serious about that question, you'd be like, what are you, stupid? There would be no debate. There would be no discussion. There would be no philosophical answer. It's the same thing the dudes that try to say the world is flat. There is no philosophical, no. You're put into that category. It's already been done. It's already been debated. You're not Aristotle. You're not like the person, I believe it was Aristotle that said, that first said the world is round and now it's in reverse and it's a Christian conspiracy. No. We're not playing that game. And what gets on my nerves is when Negroes will try to be like, okay, we're going to ask the question just to ask the question. So that gives it validity. Now, keep in mind, I understand it's the title of the video. The title is very controversial. The title gets views. Obviously, I'm talking about it. I understand all that. But I'm listening to this video, and I'm jumping around. And it's kind of like, God bless O'Shea, I guess. Because I couldn't deal with it. It's like when people talk about, people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what racism actually is. And that's really the problem. You got a lot of Negroes that either don't know what it is or they really don't want to know, because anything that interferes with how they want to view the world, because the world as it is too hard. It's too hard for a lot of people to say, I'm a black man and I live in a matriarchy and I live in a caste system that is designed for me to lose. Now, as an individual, I might be able to sneak through the cracks. But even as an individual, you get far enough, Bill Cosby, Tiger Woods, name any black person that has a lot of money, because black people are not able to pass money down as easily as whites. Hence the situation we're in today. It's too hard to live in that reality. So I'm gonna adjust my mindset and my thought process to pretend that I'm in another reality. It's literally like Cypher. When you gave Cypher the red pill, it was too hard for Cypher to live in a real world. Because it was hard. And I don't even blame him. I don't even think I understand. But as a result, just like in the Matrix, he said, look, I'll team whatever, team white supremacy, team whatever. I just don't want to live in this reality. I want to go back into the delusion. And I do get it. But make no mistake, that's what's going on. And I'm not on this I'm not a ultimate social justice warrior, if you don't think like me. But no, that's not what I am. But reality's reality. I'm not the type of person that's going to say, oh, I'm going to pretend landmines are not there, even though they could blow my fucking leg off. Because it's too hard to acknowledge that. No, I'm going to acknowledge the reality of what something is, and then we're going to do what we're going to do from there. Now, you hear things like, well, black people are racist all the time. Black people can't be racist, because racism, number one, you can't even find a lot of black supremacists out here. I remember when I was on BGS's Hangout, and I was accused of being a black supremacist. And I'm not a black supremacist. I'm just about black people actually stop not getting their asses kicked as a group. There's a difference between wanting to be number one and just wanting to survive. Those are two completely different things. Living in a hostile environment. Most black men don't understand that, because most black men have not been out of the damn country. So they don't even know what leaving your ass alone even feels like, because they've always had this bang in the back of their mind, and we're so used to it. It is what it is. Anyway. People will always say, well, black people can be racist too. As I said, they cannot. Because black people cannot call the 911 on white folks and expect the same result that white people can get from black people. White people are not accidentally getting arrested because they're trying to get into their own house because they lost their fucking key. Shout out to Skip Gates, a doctor who has multiple doctorates. Black, white, you don't find no white politicians that are getting the police called on them because they're passing out flyers in their own damn district. Shout out to that report that just came out, that dude in New York. Now it's a problem big enough that we need to fucking get laws changed now that he's dealing with it. You've never seen white senators that get stopped. Shout out to the when they're trying to become a Senate, get in the Senate, because you're not used to seeing them. Shout out to I forget Tim Scott in South Carolina. He at least he admitted it. He said it happened more than once, right? And I give him props for saying that, especially in the environment he was in. My point is that you don't have to be in this like head up your ass, oh my God, I hate the world. But as a man, you have to understand the environment that you're in. Now, this is the thing that I'm going to say. This is the trap. Because anybody can talk about this. Anybody can have I don't like what he's saying, whatever. He's a whatever, blah, blah. Anybody can have that conversation. The point that I want to point out in this video, and this is pretty much the reason I'm gonna be watching. You know me, I usually get to the real point at the end of the fucking video. Like an idiot. Glad I'm doing it within 6 minutes. So if you're here, appreciate it. The point, or a point, that I want to get to is this. What a lot of naive black people, because it's not just conservatives, it's liberals too. Black liberals. Anybody, so it's not just an ABL or whatever. It's liberals too. They're the same way. It's just the way black people come at it is a little bit different. But they do the same shit. It just comes in a different flavor. The point is, white people are not, there's two schools of thought. There's people that believe that you should be overtly dominated, meaning you need to know you're dominated and be forced into submission to where you are afraid of white people, or you view white people as gods. This is where a lot of Africans are, where they literally look at white people through the eyes of Christianity and white Jesus a lot more than black people do. African Americans do, which is interesting. But that being said, you don't ever really see Africans compete with white people. They're afraid to. Let's keep that real. That is where certain white people want black people. And then you have certain white people that believe, let them believe what they want to believe and help them believe certain things that make it difficult for them to compete. That way they're just living in their world while we're dominating them. AKA gentrification, AKA whatever. Kind of like, let them kill them nicely, kill them softly. This is where Jason Black has these things called about ethnic cleansing, American style, gentrified, where he talks about, it's the most humane form of ethnic cleansing. And people, they know it, but it's like they don't know what to do with it because it's not enough stimulus enough to actually cause a human fight or flight response as a group. This is what Democrats are very good at. This is what black conservatives like ABL always like to point out. And this is where the Democratic Party is more responsible for the matriarchy than the Republicans. Because, see, with a lot of people people will say, well, look, Democrats, a lot of the white folks that are Republican now, alt-right, shit like that, they were Democrat. Because they were fighting from a different class, but they didn't want black people to be a competitive force at the lower classes. Because that was affecting their jobs. So it was a different game. But the point is, back then, so even if you were to say the Democratic Party, a lot of those people are now in the Republican Party. So it's more of a elite way of dealing with it from an institutional standpoint, versus, which is a lot of limousine liberals and stuff like that, versus back in the day, it was more like, okay, do it overtly, and that way, black people submit. This is why, you didn't see the matriarchy like that, because women were under threat for real. It wasn't no damn, you knew what would happen if you didn't have men, you were in mortal danger. Black women are not in mortal danger like that. So they have this false sense of security, which creates what it creates. What is my point? My point is the same concept operates within a lot of guys and things like that. They have this positive reinforcement. It's kind of like smoking a cigarette or doing a drug or whatever, or weed or whatever. You get this positive reinforcement, this buzz, alcohol buzz, you feel good, whatever, and it doesn't really harm you initially. You don't feel the effects initially. And it's the same way. So what happens is you have a lot of you have this thing where white people are nicer to you, and you think it's because you're behaving correctly, when in reality, white people are registering you as a non-threat. They don't got to worry about competing with you. It's the only thing you can do is add to their bottom line, individually as a group. So their tolerance level for you will be a lot better because you make them feel better about themselves. This operates individually as a group. You become that black friend. You become their validation that they're not that bad of a guy. So just like how when you call a white person racist, a lot of white people resent that, especially white people that are. Because even people like David Duke and like that don't like to be called a racist, because what you essentially call him is a bad guy, because they've always they've been raised up to believe that that's what a bad guy is. And that's that socialization they're coming up with. So what happens is guys like this will sit there and say, this is the right way to go because it seems like your atmosphere is being well. This is what lulls a lot of black people in bullshit situations. Tiger Woods, I'm not black, I'm Blasian. Bill Cosby, a lot of wealthy black men, respectability politics, you start to believe that bullshit and not understand that you just ain't been ate up yet. You're kind of like being put in the freezer, or you're not really, because you're not really a direct threat. And in fact, it's the art of war. That's all it really is. It's the art of war. And if you read the art of war and you understand warfare, it's a way to subvert the best way to deal with somebody is to deal with somebody in such a way that you do not have to, raise a hand. You don't have to, because you don't have to lose people. And this is what the United States of America has right, that even other white people, for the most part, don't have right. Now, granted, Europeans have their own way of doing it, because Europeans will tell you that if you assimilate, then we won't fuck with you at all, versus America, because we're very zero-sum as far as economics, and they had all these non-whites that were here, versus Europe. Europe has what they have because of them, versus the way the country's built up is different. So they always had to play this kind of keep away musical chairs with the economics to keep stuff in white hands and not in other hands, and to keep other groups from being able to really compete with them. This is why Asians have been able to come up on their ass, because they never really were able to dominate all Asians like that. Yeah, they got Japanese, but it's just they don't have the numbers to do that. So they left certain groups alone, and then greed is why they opened up China, and therefore there you have it with where Western world is going. I refer you to be just more for information on that with China and all of that. My point again is a lot of these dudes are in this false sense of security until it's time to get your ass. Monique went through the same shit. When you're in there too long, or when you're initially in there, you think you're good, and you're never good. They just ain't got to you yet. Tarina, she called, I forget what we called it. It was like a wheel that you spin around, and that dart just ain't hit you yet. But that don't mean it won't. That doesn't mean it can't. And this is why you see a lot of dumbasses, women mainly, talk about, I can't believe it's racism in 2018. Because this is them getting touched up. So what happens is dudes like this will sit there and say, well, black people can do this too. You do not see black. There's a reason we call it black on black crime and not black on white crime. You do not see black people doing the same shit to whites. You cannot argue that. Like, you cannot statistically prove that. And it's not even about stats. If black people are really fucking with white people, like white people are fucking with black people, they would have killed us off. White people are afraid that we'll start doing that. And that really activates a lot of racism that you see. But if black people are really doing to black people, With black people really doing white people with white people in any kind of measurable way, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? Because that's their mortal fear. So when I hear dudes say that, the only thing you're doing is you're allowing people to basically do what they do, and you're that black friend. You're that justification. You're that Trojan horse. Because you're saying, well, this shit happens now. This shit happens to me too. White people are not being fucked with like black people are. Not by other. Everything that's wrong in a typical white person's life can be laid at the feet of rich white people. It's not other groups that are doing anything. It's like when you look at immigration, it ain't black people letting people in. Hispanics don't have the political will to push it through. They would have did it already. It's rich white. But see, people don't even I forget a dude who did documentary White Like Me. But when I hear dudes like this, they really believe that bullshit. And that's why we have these back and forth same arguments, and we don't go as far as we could. Because we got people, shout out to people like Donovan Sharp. Donovan Sharp is unapologetic about how he is, but Donovan Sharp understands the reality. He's not somebody that's going to talk about racism all day and every day, but he also ain't dumb enough to navigate an environment acting like shit doesn't exist. You know, he understands it from a tactical standpoint. Now, he's not a social justice warrior. Maybe on some, counter, manosphere stuff, yeah. Same thing with people like Nagone, He's not somebody, racism dominates me, but at the same time, he sees it. We see it. Nobody's saying you gotta be this person where you're like, oh, woe, it's me, but at the same time, you a stupid motherfucker if you're gonna sit there and live in this kind of never land where shit just don't happen. You're an idiot. Stephen Clark thought the same way, all the way up until he caught them bullets. Just like everybody else. They didn't care that he was pro-police. They didn't care that he was all lives matter. That shit does not matter. And what happens with a lot of these guys, it's not even these guys. It's the fact that these guys will influence people to think it's okay to think that way. And these are the soft targets. These are the dudes that become soft targets and get killed. Just like a lot of sisters that think it's cool to go in Asian nail salons, just like because all lives matter, and they think if they got money, the Asians really give a fuck. They won't touch their ass up. Just like swirlers that always think it's cool to get around these racist white folks, white dudes, and it is funny until they get killed and nobody gives a damn, and then they want to blame everybody for not giving a damn. I'm like, dude. And here's the thing. I'm not mad at O'Shea for putting the video out, because black people need to understand that people like this exist. And my thing is, dudes like that, they've opted out. There's nothing you can do for them. There's nothing you should do for them. And maybe they'll learn, maybe they won't. But dudes like this, quite frankly, there's really no redeeming them, because for the most part, they're always going to want to lean that way. Even if they get touched up, they'll justify every incident as an individual incident. This is what people do. And I personally don't care. Like, oh my God, he's evil. And I'm not on that. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, dude. Like, you really gonna act like black people are out here fucking with white people like that. Black people are damn near segregated from white folks of certain classes. You don't see dudes in the hood able to roam up on white folks like that in areas that they're used to being at. Like, where the fuck are you at to where you seeing this shit? Where are the articles are you seeing black people are fucking with white people like that? Or going out of their way to do it? Where are you seeing that? So when people like make these arguments, I can tell they just woke up out of the fucking bed and they just say shit because they want to believe it. It's not about if it's real. They want to believe it. That's what it is. And we got to separate what the fuck we want to believe versus what the reality is. I was just listening to SWP, as I mentioned on another video, and he was talking about that shit with sisters. But I'm glad, because this is what dudes do. This is a lame, oh my God. It's like, well, they're not that bad. Here's the thing. You got to understand, And I'm going to end this video with this. How much time do I have? I'm trying to be better about time. All right, 20 minutes. We'll do it 25. This is what folks got to understand. This is not about a white thing. Other groups, black men, let me say this, let me be absolutely clear here. African American men are the most matriarchal men in the United States of America, bar none. The only other group I can really find that kind of matches us is Filipinos and global. It doesn't feel good to say that shit, but it's true. As a group, it's true. It's absolutely true. I dare any motherfucker try to tell me that's not true. Because guess what? I'm mature enough to admit where we are, so we can know where we need to be. Does that mean every subculture in black, every subgroup of black men are like that? Of course not. Nation Islam damn sure ain't like that. Hebrew Israelites damn sure ain't like that. A lot of black conservatives, for the most part, I'd say 70% damn sure ain't like that. A lot of black male liberals, yeah. You all are way above the damn line. You all are what really pushes it. If you eliminate a lot of black liberals, if you would filter for them in the equation, black male liberals, probably it wouldn't be nowhere near as true. That's most of where it is. But we've all been raised in this matriarchal household. So the reality is, this is not about white. Other white people are the dominant in this country and globally right now. But like Glendon Cameron says, Asian supremacy is coming up too. And they don't give a fuck about you either. They may like you for basketball and stuff like that, but they want you to stay the fuck out of there. And they're just as pure about bloodlines as white people can be. In fact, I'd argue more so. I'd argue a hell of a lot more so. And they may not be as vicious or go at it the same way. You don't know. But the reality is, it's a group thing. And the problem with black people, you see it with the women, but we talk about the men now, is a lot of dudes don't want to be on a losing team. That's human nature, I understand. But rather than, you got two camps. You got the minority, which is black people trying to say, how can we get from being a losing team? And you have a lot of black people that want to opt out. And they express opting out in different ways. Everybody doesn't express opting out and hopping the fence. A lot of dudes express opting out as deferring to women. In fact, most black men express opting out as deferring to women more than they do hopping the fence. As in, black men marry black women 86%. We just don't get married. We only get married 30% of the time. And that's a very direct result of having a broken culture. Yeah, part of that is industrialism, but us being first and all this bullshit has to do with a broken culture. And nobody talks about this. We don't talk about it, not really, outside the manosphere. And I've had plenty of conversations. People know it, but it's just something that's not talked about. And what happens is, you get dudes like this, and in that environment, they'll have these like psychological justifications for their worldview, and you can tell they've never really challenged it. At the end of the day, these are dudes. It's like, look, I'm not for this black shit. We're losing. It's already over. Y'all gonna have no. And I'd rather him just say that. Stop. Don't go out of your way to say black people can be racist too. It's basically saying giving white folks a pass. Because black people have no ability to dominate white people. And you cannot really show any group of black people dominating white people outside of sports. And even sports, that's a sanctioned situation. Because that's what gets the eyeballs for a whole bunch of old white men, a.k.a. owners, getting paid. Even most black people that are in sports are giving their money back to white society through resources and stuff that they buy. Most agents are white. They're showing these black athletes. Who you think they referring these people to? They referring people that they do business with to buy the house and car. It's a transfer of wealth. That's why they call a book $1 Million Slave. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you think I'm full of shit? Link will be in the description for the video. Do you agree? Do you not agree? I'm not, there's a reason I don't want to call him a name or anything like that. What do you think? That's all I really got to say. I ain't got a lot of questions about this. This is Edward signing off. Peace.